All right, now solving systems of equations can be a pain in this unit. So in this last problem, we had to solve this system of equations. Now this one wasn't bad, but some of them get pretty ugly. So it's nice to learn other ways to solve these things. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at this system of equations, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to think of this as 1 times a here, 1 times b here, and I'm going to think of that as having a 1 times b there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write these equations, I'm going to represent these equations as a matrix. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep track of the coefficients. See, I got a 1 there, I got a 1 here, I got a 5, I have a -3 here, I have a 1 here, and then I have a -3. Put brackets around this. So this is a matrix. It's called a 2 by 3 matrix, or in other words, 2 by 3, like that. So I have two rows by 3 columns. So the rows are the, you get the rows by going horizontally. You get the columns by going vertically. So each row represents an equation. This first row here represents the equation 1a plus 1b equals 5. This second row represents the equation -3a plus 1b equals -3. Now, your calculator can do all sorts of cool stuff with matrices. So if you have a calculator with you, well, here's something you can do. You can enter this matrix into your calculator. So if you got an 83, you can hit second, go to matrix here, and now we want to make a matrix. So you can make a whole bunch of matrices at once. I already have something in A. Let's go to option B. So let's put a matrix in for matrix B. So I'm going to scroll down to B, and I'm going to scroll over to edit here, and I'm going to scroll down to option B, hit enter. All right, and so it says, it's asking me, well, how big of a matrix do you want? Well, I want to make a 2 by 3 matrix. So I hit 2, scroll over, hit 3, and there we go. So now I can enter in the numbers in my matrix. So I'm going to hit 1, enter. 1, enter. 5, enter. And then I'm going to have -3, enter. 1, enter. -3, enter. So now my matrix is in my calculator. Okay, so I'm going to hit second, quit, go to the home screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do second matrix here, that button. I'm going to go over to math. And I'm going to scroll all the way down until I get to RREF. RREF. That stands for Reduced Row Echelon Form. I'm going to hit enter on that. And I'm going to tell my calculator to do Reduced Row Echelon Form on matrix B. So I'm going to hit second, matrix. I'm going to scroll down to matrix B and hit enter. And I'll close parentheses. Now I'm going to hit enter again. All right, so my calculator spat out that. So after hitting telling my calculator to do reduced row echelon form, it spit out 1, 0, 2, 0, 1, 3. So what your calculator is telling you is this. It's saying, hey, if you use the elimination method on these two equations, like we were doing in the last problem, if you keep adding and subtracting these equations, multiplying by numbers, recombining them, you can turn this system of 2 equations into this system of 2 equations. Well, why is that helpful? Well, look at what this system of equations is now. This matrix is representing the equation 1a plus 0b equals 2. And the bottom equation is representing 0a plus 1b equals 3. Wait a minute, 1 times a is just a, 0 times b is 0. well, then I have A equals 2, and I have B equals 3. So the calculator just solved this system of equations for you. Now again, this wasn't a big deal on this system of equations. I mean, this wasn't so bad. But if I gave you a gigantic system of equations, like a 3x3 system of equations, or a system of equations with 3 variables and 3 equations, now that would be a pain. So this is a nice trick. Now, if you're rusty with solving systems of equations, especially the more complicated examples, I did put up optional homework on solving systems of equations. So look it over. It's important, especially since some of you need to take linear algebra in the future. You got to be really good at it. But anyway, so this is a fast way to solve a system of equations, though, using your calculator.